Hi, my name is Chris Francoeur, and I will be discussing the impact of GPS. Throughout the semester, I have prepared this Google site through various assignments that we completed in CSC 101 in preparation for this final project. So to start off, this Google site is a little different than HTML and CSS. Because on Google Sites, all you really have to do is create some text boxes that you can type in, and you can take images straight from your computer to create your website. Whereas on HTML and CSS, you have to use coding and tags to make your website look the way you want. All the information will end up being the same. However, I find that Google Sites is a little easier to use. So to start off with the looks of my website, I created this logo through an image on the internet, and I just added GPS over it, combining that with this other image behind it with my name to create my banner, which I created on Pixlr. And this animation I have here that I created on EasyGIF using an image of myself, my logo, and an image of a GPS from the internet. So to start off with some information about my topic, we'll define GPS as a satellite navigation system used to determine the ground position of an object. The GPS system includes 24 satellites in space about 12,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. GPS can be a specific device, or it can be an app on your mobile phone. Regardless of what this device is, that GPS must connect to a required number of the 24 satellites in order to work correctly. Now we move on to the purpose of GPS. Indicate the name of the innovation and provide a clear description of its intended purpose. So obviously we are discussing GPS. The original purpose of GPS was for the United States Navy to track their submarines. However, the United States government thought that this tracking concept was a good idea, and they came up with a type of GPS that we use today, which the main purpose for the newer GPS is to get directions to a location as easy as possible. As you can see over here on the right, this is what a mobile phone GPS app would look like. GPS has addressed a problem in physical maps that prior to GPS were very confusing. They can be damaged or lost. They can have printing errors, or they can be outdated. As you can see, shown in this image over to the left, showing how physical maps were hard to read. Now on to the effects and impacts. Explain a benefit and or harmful effect of the innovation. GPS has been very beneficial in that it has made it much easier to get from point A to point B. Like I said before GPS, people had to use physical maps that were extremely difficult, especially while you were driving, because if you were by yourself, it could be very distracting to your driving, which leads us into a harmful effect of GPS is while using the device while you're driving, it can make you distracted. So it is important to use a GPS mount as shown in this image over here. Explain the impact that the innovation has had on society, economy, and or culture. As you can see over here on the right, these are the results from my survey. 16 of the 20 people who responded rated GPS a 5, which is the highest for its impact on society. GPS has had a huge impact on the society, not only making it easier to get to destinations, however, you can share your location, you can track people, or you can look up pretty much any location in the world, no matter where you are. And when it comes to its economic impact, it is extremely important for economic growth because GPS has been a crucial role in 14 of 16 industries that are classified as part of the nation's critical infrastructure. Now, moving on to the survey that I had mentioned. This survey was used to collect data on the impact of GPS, beginning with a lot of general information about yourself, and then goes on to ask if you have ever heard of GPS and its impact on your life and society. Now moving on to this video that was created for the pros and cons of GPS, and I will play this now.
Feel it coming in the air. Hear the screams. How do you think GPS has benefited our world today?
GPS has benefited our world today by making it easier to get from point A to point B. Before GPS, people had to use confusing maps.
Do you think GPS can be harmful?
Yes, most people use GPS on their phones, which can lead to distracted driving.
Starting route to Duncan. Head west on Brown Bear Road. Starting route to Duncan. Head west on Brown Bear Road.
So now moving on, indicate one field other than computer science which this innovation has impacted or has the potential to impact. So a field of study that I chose was the environment. GPS has made it possible to analyze many environmental problems from a new perspective, as well as it has allowed the environment to be analyzed much quicker than manual alternative methods. Now onto the technical aspects. Using a GPS is pretty simple. Describe how a user interacts with the innovation. Whatever device you're on, all you do is put your information in for the destination you want to go to, and you just click go. It shows you a map of your current location, and it moves as you do. So pretty simple. Describe in detail how the innovation's technology incorporates at least one of the big ideas of abstraction, algorithms, programming, and or the internet to accomplish its purpose. GPS incorporates abstraction because it establishes a link of satellites positioned and timed systems to allow a radio receiver to obtain a signal in 4 dimensions after synchronizing the data of latitude, longitude, altitude, and time, which is very difficult. So the user does not see this process. The only part they do see is the simple part of plugging their location into the GPS. That is abstraction because it is just removing unnecessary information to make something easier to understand. Describe how the innovation consumes data as an input, produces data as an output, and or transforms data. GPS processes data in the ways of consuming and producing. Primarily, GPS is a producer for us as users. However, GPS consumes the data from the satellites and it produces that data in the form of a specific location that someone is looking for. Describe at least one data storage concern, data privacy concern, or data security concern related to the innovation. GPS does raise some privacy concerns. There's a lot of hackers out there today, so if you're not careful with your privacy settings, someone could get access to your location when you don't want them to, and that could just lead to further problems. Now onto the references. I just chose 4 for my website. I have many more. We'll go to this one. This was very trustworthy site. For NASA, it's just describing the history of GPS. For more information on the impact of GPS, click the link below.